Denmark. The first thing that is noticeable in this North European small country is the law-abiding people who can appreciate the time. The climate in the country bordering on Germany, Norway and Sweden is quite mild. Winter in Denmark is warm and summer is cool. The Kingdom of Denmark belongs to Scandinavia. The distance between the capitals of Denmark and Kazakhstan is about 5,000 kilometers. Despite this long distance, a lot of ethnic Kazakhs live in Denmark. The majority of our compatriots moved to this state with absolutely different culture, traditions and way of life from Afghanistan.
Туған өсіп отқан жеріміз Ауғанстан еді ғой. Ол жерде менің мамандығым бар еді оқылғанына.
We were born and grew up in Afghanistan. I got my education there. We could find a job neither in Afghanistan nor in Iran. The job situation was very difficult there. We couldn't find where we belonged in Iran. This is why we had to go to Europe to find our chance.
Majbur qaldım Avropaga kelishga.
The forefathers of Muhammad Rafi Aubi moved from Kızılorda to Uzbekistan, then Tajikistan and later to Afghanistan in 1932 during famine. Muhammad Rafi has become the first Kazakh who moved to this Danish town of Aarhus. Kazakhs have never lived there before. In 1985, he and his family left Afghanistan, where he was born and grew up after having settled in the new country. He also moved his parents and two brothers there. The main requirements for those who wanted to live in Denmark was speaking Danish. This is why the first thing that the people willing to receive Danish citizenship did was learning the language and receiving the appropriate degree.
Men türlü mамандық da оқып алдым. Birinchi мамандығым шаруалық мамандық еді. Mal бағу, жерлерді қалай егін егу.
I'm an agronomist and my duties were to pasture, turn up the soil and plant crops. But I couldn't find the job I had been trained for, so I got my second education in a technical school and started working as a machine operator.
Machine operator dedi. Sonra оқып bitirib, so жұмысқа мен іліндім.
Abdul Salam Aubi Genbet and Apizatok Pak, who moved here in 2001, have 5 children, most of whom are students already. Their older daughter is studying to be a dentist, their son Akim is going to be an economist, and Amit studies vocal. Learning Danish and English made them speak their native language less and forget the culture and history of the nation. But living in another country, these people could keep their love towards their native language, history and culture, since the inherited memory keeps all these for future generations. Although we had lived in Afghanistan and Iran for a long time and now we live in Denmark, we've never forgotten our origins even for a second and have always tried to keep Kazakh traditions, these people say. My family and I went to Kazakhstan in 2008 for my brother's wedding, and last year I went there on my own. We often make bishparmak, manti, pelmeni, baursak. I always make baursak so that our children don't forget Kazakh cuisine. We also make baursak during the holiday of Eid. And on Nowruz we cook Nowruz kosher because I want my children to feel the special taste of motherland. Our children both read books by Kazakh writers and listen to Kazakh songs on the internet. This is a farewell song that a girl sings to her relatives and her home before her wedding. Another illustrative example of folk art is the traditional rite called Aujar. It is being abandoned by modern Kazakhs, and we here in Denmark try to keep this wonderful rite as a sample of folklore. This custom accompanies brides as a way of showing homesickness they feel when they leave their family. Amangul Boranbaykuzi is the head of Aubi's family and she has 22 grandchildren and 14 great-grandchildren. The purpose of her life has always been keeping Kazakh traditions in her family and handing them down from generation to generation. Spinning and handling wool by hand could have seemed impossible in the time of technological progress. Amangulapai is still engaged in this kind of Kazakh ornamental art. This spindle was given to Amangulapai from her mother-in-law, and the other two were made by order. I took this spindle with me to Denmark in order to teach my children how to use it, and we wove carpets together with my children. Amangulapa has brought up 3 sons and 2 daughters. Her 4 children live in Denmark and 1 daughter lives in Sarayagash in the south of Kazakhstan. She's happy in Kazakhstan, and what is more, she can visit her relatives in Denmark. However, Amangulapa has a continuous strong feeling of love to her motherland. I can't leave my children here. However, I must say that the place I feel most comfortable in is Kazakhstan, of course. I have friends there with whom I can share my joys and sorrows. The future prosperity of the country depends on the young people. This is why school and university education are free in Denmark. When walking along the streets of August, we saw this school which attracted our attention. It had a world map and the flags of all countries on its main outer wall. We saw the flag of our native Kazakhstan right from afar. The representatives of various nations study in this school, and here they have a tradition of bringing various national dishes and handmade articles to show the life of their nations. Beyzakete, a 7th grade student, says she likes this school tradition very much. I'm Kazakh and I speak Kazakh since early childhood. Though I've lived in Denmark all my life, I speak both Kazakh and Danish. I will never forget my native language. My grandma taught me my native language. My relatives and I always speak Kazakh to each other. I want to visit Kazakhstan very much. Kazakhstan is in my heart. I miss my homeland, but I also like it here.
Bargım keledi da ya. Kazakhstan benim yüreğimde var. Kazakhstan'da da sağınam ama münjerde da yaxşı görəm.
The nature of Denmark is a rare beauty. Everything here delights the eye, both the blossoming green grass and colorful flowers and trees. This is why Denmark is called the Scandinavian green pearl. This is the Botanic Garden of Aarhus. A variety of flowers and trees from all over the world can be found here. Each flower has a plate with the name of the country it has been delivered from. Akbar and Nazgul are used to walk in this park when they miss the smell of blossoming wormwood and Kazakh steppe. Nazgul was born in the Kazakh town Semey, and Akbar had worked in Kazakhstan for 2 years after graduating from this school. One day he met his soulmate and they married in 1995. Now they have a son and a daughter. First, I went to Kazakhstan for 3 months, but I stayed there for 2 years because Nazgul needed to stay there to complete her studies. Nazgul, who was brought up in Kazakhstan in the spirit of her culture, first had some difficulties in getting used to the new place and new way of life. But now she loves the people of this country with their quiet temper and some appeasement round. But never will she forget the vast land of her country, the smells of her native land, and love to her country that has been inherited with mother's milk. She brings her children up in the same traditions as she has seen, and every time she surprises her Danish friends with her sincere hospitality.
Біздің отбасымыз, біз даттарменен көп байланыстамыз, өйткені жұмыс орнында істейтін қызметкерлермен айналысамыз.
We closely work and make friends with the Danish people, and when they come to our place, I always try to cook our national food for them. All of our friends like bağırsak and beşparmak a lot, and on Nowruz I treat them with Nowruz көже.
Бесбармағын жеп, Наурыздарда Наурыз көже ішіп, біздің үйге келіп, ондай біздің дәстүрлерімізді де үйреніп жатыр.
The Danish government pays special attention to the environmental protection issues. People here prefer cycling to driving by car. This is especially noticeable in Aarhus. Special bike stands are installed in front of each house and office and in all side streets in town. This has been foreseen both for local people and for tourists. Denmark is also one of many countries using wind energy. Currently 25% of power in Denmark is wind generated, and the windmills required for power generating are produced in the world by a recognizable Vestas company, which is also located in Aarhus. Ағайын, our compatriot, is the top manager of this company and he's in charge of business analyses.
Xitayda zavutlar var, Amerika'da zavutlar var, İspanya, Avrupa'nın
We have plants in China, the US and Spain and almost in all European cities. And our head office is here. From the Aarhus office we control everything, including our staff, supplies and assets in all company branches.
Ne alındı, ne satıldı, жұмысқа кім орын алып жатыр, осы жерден біздер оны бақылап қарап отырамыз.
Ағайын came to this country in 1988. When moving from one country to another, he has experienced a lot of difficulties on his way. Moreover, Ағайын learned how to write only when he was 15. Due to his great desire to learn and gain more knowledge, he graduated from school without attending classes with excellent results. Then he learned at the college and the University of Aarhus. Being a bright student in the past, he's a creative and promising specialist now. It is not very easy to be employed by a company with a staff of 22,000 employees around the world. It is also worthy of noting that Ағайын is the only Kazakh person in Denmark who has reached such a success.
Сырт елге келіп, қазақ болып, басқа ұлт болып, сиысып кетіп, бір мемлекеттің культурын үйреніп, тілін үйреніп,
It was hard for me to get used to local culture and way of life, to learn the language and get a well-paid job and get on with people of another country with an absolutely different mentality. I studied at the university and worked at the same time. And now I'm the only Kazakh who works in Vestas, which I've achieved through hard work. The population of Denmark is 5 million people. 350,000 people live in the second largest after Copenhagen city of Aarhus. 50,000 people in Aarhus are students. This is why it is also called the city of students. Many Kazakhs live in the two largest cities of the kingdom, and many of them got higher education and are working in large companies of the country. They work in the fields of economy, do business, some of them are doctors, teachers or police officers. Many Kazakhs living in Denmark are also successful in sport. Nurarman Aubi is one of the organizers of the Kazakh diaspora in Denmark. Today he's in charge of the local Kazakh Cultural Center. This center started its activity in 2003. The main purpose of the center is keeping and teaching young generation the native language, along with national values, culture and traditions.
Biz әрине жыл сайын қарым-қатынасымыз мықтылау болып жатыр. Biz 2003 жыл
First of all, we established this center to unite all Kazakh people living all around Denmark. And secondly, we wanted to show our country with its culture, language and traditions to the Danish people.
Дәттердің алдына қазақ дәстүр, қазақ мәдениет, қазақ тілін, Қазақстан не деп, соның бәрін үйрету, ғылым беру, білімменен үйрету.
The Kazakh Cultural Center doesn't have an office of its own. However, local authorities help to organize various cultural events. Our compatriots celebrate holidays like Nowruz and Independence Day every year. They learn a lot about what is happening in Kazakhstan from newspapers, magazines and the internet. The founders of the center also hope that in the future the Kazakh embassy will be opened in Denmark to help the Kazakhs living in this country.
Biz елшілік бойынша Берлиндегі қазақ елшіліктің астына жатамыз. Бірақ ол кісілер қандай алыс болсам, бізге қымбатты уақытын...
We belong to the embassy located in Berlin. Despite that the embassy is far from here, they always try their best to help us and solve our issues as quickly as possible. We have no problems with it here. Still, we have asked the government for several years to open an embassy here in Copenhagen, the town I live in.
Мен өзім Копенгагенде тұрам, яғни өз қаламда болады.
As you've noticed, we mainly talk about the representatives of Aubi family. Au means bear. It is the name of the clan. Thus, our compatriots demonstrate their respect to the ancient clan. They know the names of their ancestors by heart and never forget their roots. Our brothers who connect two countries have not lost their warm feeling of love to their motherland.
Өз жолдасым қазақ қыз негізге Қарағандыдан.
My wife is Kazakh, she's from Karaganda. My brother married a Kazakh woman from Semey. We try to keep our identity and choose only Kazakh women as our wives. Another purpose of our center is to establish a bridge between Kazakhstan and Denmark. We try to visit Kazakhstan every year, at least once every 2 years. I spent 2 years in Kazakhstan, which is why I can speak Kazakh fluently. I'm sincerely thankful to Manash Kozibayev, now deceased, who delivered the Golden Man to the Aarhus Museum in the 1990s. After listening to the scientists talking about the Kazakhs and their life, I became interested in learning my culture more deeply.
Қазақстан туралы бізге сөз айтып, қазақ кім екенін айтқаннан кейін менің жүрегіме бір от жағып кетті.
Біздер бұл мемлекетте өмір сүріп жатсақ та, түбіміз қазақ болғаннан,
Although we've lived in this country for long, we try to keep our language and our traditions. We fast every year in the month of Ramadan, visit older people on Eid, and congratulate each other on Nowruz. This is all done for our children to remember where they come from.
Қазақтар жиналып, айт ұстауды, Наурыз мейрамын құттықтауды, Наурызда Наурыз көже жасауды, оның бәрін жаңағы балалар ұмытып кетпесін деп жасап отырамыз.
Былтыр барғанмын.
Last September, I went to Kazakhstan. I was to Almaty, Shymkent, Saryagash and Turkestan. In Kazakhstan, I have my brothers and sisters, my mom and nephews, and my mom's and wife's relatives. It is only 4 or 5 years until my retirement. And when I'm retired, I want to move to Kazakhstan, closer to my brothers and sisters. We have one root and Kazakhstan is our common motherland. Wherever you live and no matter how comfortable you feel abroad, we all have only one motherland.
Hiç zaman ola atam eken unutulmaydı.